So yeah, like we said, I mean, we could really just dive in when it comes to talking about this because it's a very serious topic, and I'm glad that just the fact that we've known each other and we all know that there are times when things get serious, and that's when it's just so important to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. It's a conversation just amongst friends, and also just so everybody can see, what's that we care and we don't just let stuff go unnoticed. When I'm speaking.
Yeah, and I'd say, especially for a quote unquote troll like I'd be considered, this is a good opportunity for people to actually see the grounded viewpoints and I can't say that I'm necessarily up to date on every social issue at all times, but I definitely do my best to be open-minded and at least empathetic to the serious experiences that I see people close to me or people like in distant areas go through. And even with this like most recent like Major George Floyd or the Ahmaud Brooks or Breonna Taylor stories, like they're all worth at least being empathetic, even if you don't necessarily feel like the officers that handled the situation are in the wrong. Be empathetic to the people who are closest affected. Think of the families and remember that these people are human beings at the end of the day, and just try to have some perspective and put yourself in their shoes when you see these stories,
and use that to become better every single day, finding that kindness and really embracing what you want to be, because it takes so much energy to really just be angry with somebody, and finding your own journey into the empathy that we should all share for one another. And it's difficult to try and explain why you should care for another person because of the way I think everyone grew up with this vision of a wonderful world that was painted with amazing cartoonists when we were children, wonderful novels and books that painted heroes saving the day and restoring this world to rightness, or maybe that's the wrong word, but a sense of okay that has been severely lacking in the last few months.
A correct sense of balance, like even if it's not necessarily justice, like in the stories and I guess what we were raised on, in that media form. My bad.
No, you good. You good.
I feel like that was like the traditional good and bad was very clear cut, and I think in the real world you see that there's so much more nuance to these stories, and I feel like so many people have an issue with seeing like I can't even say necessarily the right perspective, but the truth, the most clear truth, because they're putting it into these black and white stories that they have maybe possibly experienced, but more so just like imagined or just saw through some type of like media outlet.
Yeah, I kind of want to piggyback off what you were talking about, just in fact of what we grew up with and what we saw just on TV or in the movies, and it was just kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like a fantasy that we created. And even then, just as we got older, we would look for it in anime, we look for it in movies and stuff, but then it's like, since we've been in and just been kind of able to kind of get back to reality, we're seeing even more just how things are not like how they are in the movies. Justice is not served, and that's been the biggest problem that I've seen. Is just it was like I was saying earlier, it's not that people have forgotten about those that were wrongfully killed, especially people of color that were wrongfully killed. It's the fact that it's so many people that have just been killed just unnecessarily and just not found that justice, and families have not found peace. That's why it's exhausting. I know for me, it's exhausting. It's exhausting.
Like,
and
to be so like that's what I was talking about, like with empathy and just being able to, like, you're so deeply impacted by these things and you don't even know any of these people.
Absolutely.
Like, so imagine that is somebody that you have watched grow since they were babies up until whatever stage they're at. Like, imagine having that connection with that person and then losing that and then not being able to be at peace with it. Yeah. Because what you thought was supposed to go on in America as far as this amendment to this due process.
Yeah, this whole ideal of, justice, like I was saying. And I think it's become it's so crazy to me just because it's not just the same scenario. It's not just cop pulls over, black man, cop pulls over such and such. It's not the same scenario. It's just happening in a wider range. People are getting killed eating a bowl of ice cream. Like, this is nuts. And it's irritating. And it really pisses me off because it's like, how are we supposed to live?
So a well passed around quote of racism isn't new, it's being filmed. And so now the world is being confronted with so much because so much is now being filmed, good and bad.
And there's such a strong sense of denial at this point. And I feel like so many people are just fed up with, like, how much longer can you live in denial? Like, it's as clear as day to me. Like, what can't you see? Like, what do I have to show you in order for you to know it's real?
Why do you think it is that? I want to hear from both of you. Why do you think it is that there's like this? No, it didn't. Oh, that's not how it happened. Like, and it's just like we saw it. We both saw the same video. Like, why do you think there's this sense of denial or, but if or what if?
People don't want it to be that, or they also, at some place in their heart, feel like it's all right.
I think it comes into this cycle of life imitating art and art imitating life. For a long time, things were rose-colored, and we saw it through that filter, and our movies gave us this action, this loaded moment of crime and justice being served, and like the good guys winning out in the end, because there wasn't this foreboding and invasive sense of conflict that we've faced since we were 12.
Yeah.
And that is how generations of people across the world have lived. So that's hundreds of years.
Yeah, and I think it's been reinforced when you have just a channel that's dedicated to showing a ton of different cop shows. Law and Order, Criminal Minds, CSI, Magnum PI. Like, the cops
they can do no wrong. Yeah, they're the heroes that can save the day. Yeah. They are who a lot of people aspire to be. So,
and that representation,
they put themselves, I see where the cop did that. I would do the same thing.
It's
like
the same thing
the ability to compartmentalize is amazing to me, and not in the good way. It's like a ridiculous level.
Yeah, I got you. So then let me ask you, because we're gonna wrap this up. What can we do? And I mean, as individuals, what can we do to make sure that not only are we always being aware, but how can we help? Set a new tone, just help out. How can we help out?
We're a generation that has been forging a path in crazy ways. I don't know, I can't speak for everyone, but even if you didn't have a great high school experience, a lot of classmates of mine have gone on to do insane things, moving across the world and being successful in ways that I've never even imagined or thought of, and folks are still growing. So I see absolutely no reason why you can't find your own contribution to make to continue to do so. If that's as simple as raising your children with kindness and empathy.
Goes a long way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if it's gonna be something larger, going and being a shield, literally with a shirt that says, if they open fire, stand behind me. Do you find your Dungeons and Dragons class if you want to be nerdy about it? I'm a bard. I listen to stories and retell them and make sure that folks hear everything that I have heard, because that's the only way that you're going to convince people, is by continuing to have these conversations of, this is what I saw happening. Here, right here is the story. Here, right here is the book that I read. Here, right here is the movie that detailed this in a documentary style. Here's where I learned. It was exciting for me. I hope it was for you. Because if you come at somebody angry, 9 times out of 10, you're just starting a fight. And sometimes that's cathartic. Yep. And that's going to be cathartic sometimes. And sometimes they're not going to give you the option because they're going to come at you. That's going to happen, and you just can't stop trying everything you can before that. Because the heroes that we grew up wanting to be wouldn't. So be what you saw.
What you think?
I'd also say a high level of personal accountability with all of us, like understanding the roles that we're going to personally, even if it's taking ourselves out of our comfort zones.
Absolutely.
And to tie in a little bit into what you were saying, I really feel like it's going to take a high level of personal accountability, not just amongst, I say, like your co-workers or just your day-to-day experiences, but amongst the friend groups that we have. And I feel like a main issue that a lot of people around the country are experiencing is you hear these, like, quote-unquote true colors are coming out from people who they thought were really close to them, but a lot of that is coming from them not being comfortable enough to have those conversations that really needed to be addressed, and just going on and on for so long and avoiding certain topics with important relationships are really gonna cut you deep if you choose to. So that's I encourage our friend groups, people that we don't even necessarily consider friends, up just to have these conversations with as well. So
I think kind of piggyback off of what both of you were saying, definitely it starts at home. So it's going to definitely start with the people that you're around. I'm always telling people, if you're hanging around 4 bums, you're the 5th bum. So my thing is, you want to put yourself around people that's intelligent, people that's going to challenge you, people that's going to make you always want to be a better you. So when it comes to something like this and wanting to create a better future where I'm not being judged by the color of my skin, or, I'm not saying something, sexist, or I'm not doing something that's going to be, incredibly, disrespectful to any kind of culture, it's important that we educate ourselves. Educating ourselves can come in so many different ways. It comes with the conversations that you have with your friends. It comes with the conversations that you have with your elders. It comes with just sitting down and taking time to understand who you are as a person. So I'm telling you, like you said, even if that means being a good parent, that goes a long way.
Yep. Taking the individual initiative to just educate yourself on important topics can be more relevant than, say, protesting and then doing nothing afterwards.
Absolutely. And that's the thing that I really wanted to, and I mean, we spoke about this. There's so many different ways to get your voice out there, and protesting is amazing, and I love it. I do know that there are people that are not protesting and still finding a way to get their message out, that change needs to happen. Mm-hmm. And so I'm glad that with my circle, the ARC circle, that we are able to have conversations. Mm-hmm. And even if we don't all agree on it, that conversation was still had, and we didn't beat around the bush, or we didn't skip over it.
Yep. And we're having the conversation to learn something from it and take something out of it, as opposed to just making sure that your words and your thoughts are heard, and then listening to respond, not listening to take in information. That's the main thing, and that's something I feel like I need to personally work on myself, because I don't know. I mean, I can be know-it-all. Yeah. So.
That's all of us. We all can do that. And so, yeah, we just got to, just, love one another, speak, and definitely we're going to continue to use this platform. If we ever feel like there's some kind of injustice going on, we're going to use it. So
let the lotus bloom twice, man.
Yeah. But, we thank y'all for tuning in.